Hello, I'm Alex Kramer and today is Women's Talk Day. It's an opportunity for all us ladies to get together and have a chat about any health issues that might be concerning you, especially ones that you find maybe a bit embarrassing or a bit of a taboo to talk about. So joining me in the studio today, we've got our panel. We've got Dr. Tricia McNair and we've also got Dawn Breslin, a leading self-help coach. We're fully interactive, so do drop us an email, drop us a line, and we'll do our best to answer those questions for you. So Patricia, Dawn, thanks so much for joining us today.
Pleasure.
First thing that I'd like to talk to you about, Patricia, is what kind of health issues are women normally embarrassed to talk about?
Well, I think we've improved a lot. These days we talk quite happily about sex, but I think the last taboo is body waste, stuff that comes out of the body. And I think sensitive bladder comes under that topic. I mean, anything really down below is a bit difficult, but that in particular is an issue that women just don't like to talk about. Even women who have a serious problem with it, 50% of them have never gone to talk to a health professional about it.
That's what I was going to say, actually. Are women actually keeping it from their friends? What kind of impact can that have on them?
Well, they're not talking to their doctors about it, and I don't think they're talking to their friends either, so they're bottling it all up. And more importantly, there are things you can do. There are lots of things women can do themselves, even without the help of a doctor, to try and control the problem, make it better, and they're not finding out about those.
What kind of things are those? What would you suggest?
Well, there's some very simple lifestyle steps you can take. You need to look at, first of all, just controlling the problem, so wearing a panty liner, such as always Envive. That's enough for a lot of women. It keeps them fresh, keeps them confident, they're perfectly happy. But then they can change their diet. A diet that's full of caffeine from tea and a lot of coffee caffeine can irritate the bladder, making a sensitive bladder much worse. So they can do that. They can exercise their pelvic floor muscles. They might need the help of a physiotherapist, but they can learn how to work on those muscles and support everything much better. They can lose weight if they're overweight. I say that very glibly. I know it's really difficult, but that is a tactic you can take. There's lots of different things women can do to take control before they even think about medicines from a doctor.
It very much affects women's confidence, doesn't it, Dawn? So what kind of things would you...
Without a doubt. I mean, I think just like any problem, you know, if we sweep it under the carpet, if we try to ignore it, what will happen is it will start to impact other areas of your life. So, for example, this may start as a health issue, but it could then very quickly start to impact your personal relationships. It may even, I've looked at case studies, this can affect women's working life, you know, planning a whole day around, you know, how many loos are there, when can I get to the loo, you know, and worrying about, you know, just a leak, whether they cough or whether they sneeze. So it starts off as a small issue, but it can become quite serious. And I think depending on the degree of the problem, it could actually ultimately end in things like depression. So, like anything in life, the first step is actually taking action. And
yes,
Dr. Trisha's talking about loads of solutions, and it's about doing something.
Yeah.
And I think even doing something today.
Yeah, well, we've actually had some emails in already from some ladies who'd like your advice on this subject. So Jamie says, are there any exercises I can do to lower the chances of bladder sensitivity in later life?
There are, yes, and it's been shown, particularly for women who are going to have children when they have their pregnancy and give birth, if they do pelvic floor exercises then they really do have a great effect on preventing it happening later on. The thing with pelvic floor exercises are you've got to learn how to do them properly, and you'll need help from someone who knows, probably a physiotherapist. They're great at that sort of thing. And you've got to do them consistently. So you've got to do them repeatedly every day, several times a day. I mean, you can do them quietly. You could be doing them right now and we wouldn't know you were you were doing it. And you've got to do them every day and you've got to keep on doing them, but they work if you do them properly.
It's particularly important to do them during pregnancy, isn't it? That's what my friends tell me.
Yes, that's right, yes.
OK, so Sophie also has emailed in. She says, I heard recently that not drinking enough water would cause me to need the toilet. I can't understand that and wondered if it's true. I don't understand that one either.
Neither do I.
No, it is. It's a funny one that people can't logically get their heads around. But for the bladder to work properly, it needs to fill regularly and empty regularly. And if you're not drinking very much, then it doesn't get used to expanding and it doesn't regularly teach itself to contract properly. So if you drink plenty of fluid, you will have to go to the loo quite often, but it trains your bladder to hold more fluid and to work more efficiently, for the muscles to work more efficiently. So think of it as bladder training, filling it with fluid to teach the muscles there how to work.
Okay, I certainly didn't know that. What can we do, Dawn, to make these issues less taboo? How can we, you know, get our heads around just talking about it and you know, recognising that there are products out there that mean that you don't have to suffer with it.
Absolutely. I think the first thing is, I actually mentioned when I was becoming involved with this campaign, I mentioned it to a friend, and my friend's neck kind of started to come out, and I thought, she's relating to me, but this is something that's never been spoken about before. So generally, women just don't talk about it. No. So I think to start with, especially if things are affecting your sex life, if it's impinging upon your life at all, we've got to take action. So a gentle step, maybe bringing up the fact that you watched this today, with a friend, just listen to their hints and their tips of how they're dealing with it, number one. Number two, go and see a health professional. Find out, take action, do something about it. Now, there's a great thing on the market. There's this new product called Envive. Looks like a normal sanitary towel, so you wouldn't go into a supermarket and nobody would have a clue what you were going in for. But this fantastic product, immediately, if it's something you worry about, instead of worrying and being anxious about your day, this product's been designed so that odours, smells, the water is absorbed very, very quickly, and they have different sizes, different strengths of them, so that if you're wearing the right kind of protection, again, your anxiety levels will come down. And I think the anxiety in itself will trigger probably, or could stimulate the problem even more.
The links between the brain and the bladder are very strong. We all know that. We all know if we're dashing for the loo, how easy it is to concentrate and keep it under control. And so if you can calm down all that activity in the nerves between the brain and the bladder, and anxiety plays a part in that, then you're already going to be taking some control of the bladder and helping the situation. So yeah, every step.
So it's taking a step. It's not watching this today, because I think so many people, whether it's sensitive bladder or it's a relationship problem or, you have another problem in your life, the automatic thing that we do is we just sweep it to the side. Today you can actually go out, you can actually do something today, you can call up your doctor today, you can communicate with a friend today, but if you don't do it today, this whole TV show just becomes something that you saw, it's in the past, and nothing changes. And your life is so important.
We've had a couple more emails actually from a few other ladies. We've had Philippa, who says, I often find that I go from not needing to urinate at all to being absolutely desperate, which can be really embarrassing if I'm not near the loo. Do you know what causes this, and what can I do to ease the situation? I do drink a lot of water, but wouldn't want to change this.
That's a form of urinary incontinence called detrusor instability, to give it its medical name, or overactive bladder. And what happens is that the bladder copes with filling until suddenly all the nerves kick in and you've got to empty it quickly. Training your bladder, exercises that help you get used to holding more and more urine will help. Cutting out the caffeine that I mentioned before will also help, because that calms the nerves down to the bladder, makes them less likely to suddenly trigger and suddenly tell your bladder it's got to empty.
I always get that when you come in from outside. When you just got off the bus and you get into the house, and then all of a sudden you've got to dash to the...
There's psychology in there too, though, because you know the loo is there, you suddenly think, yes, I can go, and everything goes.
Yeah. So there's a strong connection between your mind and your...
Huge connection, definitely. Even reading the notes last night about doing this today, I needed to go to the loo. So, your whole mind is stimulating what is actually going on in your body all the time.
All the time. Yeah. It's been absolutely fascinating talking to you both, and I think it's a great step in getting women to be a lot more open and a lot more comfortable with talking about something that at the end of the day, it's pretty much going to affect us all at some point, isn't it?
It does.
It's coming. There's not much we can do about it, so best not to be embarrassed by it and get on with it. So thanks very much for talking to us today. If you want any more information on the product or just what the ladies have been talking about today, then please go to the website allthews.alwaysonvive.co.uk. Thanks very much. Take care.